Shabbat Shalom from Temple Concord. This week we finish the end of the book of Numbers. We have Matot and Maseh, which is a double portion, and we reach the end of the story of our people. From Deuteronomy onward, it's a repetition of what we've already encountered. And in these last two chapters, we have all sorts of odds and ends pieces, including discussions about our boundaries and about how to relate with others in war and so on and so forth. And it comes at a time when right now we're very concerned with what's going on in the Middle East, and in particular with Iran. And as you know, a deal has been reached with Iran, and it's got to be ratified by our government and by other countries. The challenge that we face is not new. Even back in the time of Torah, we had these questions of how do we deal with those we deem to be enemies? How do we deal with the other? How do we fight with them justly? How do we make peace with them justly? And while the Torah gives us a path forward, it doesn't say this is the only way forward or this is the way we must do it. It just says this is a way forward. And so in diplomatic circles, the challenge is a very real one and an ancient one. How do you take two people who don't trust each other, who don't agree with each other, who have differing aims, and get them to see that mutually assured success is better than mutually assured destruction? Diplomats for centuries, millennia, have wrestled with that question. And so in a sense, what our current leadership is doing and what Iran is doing and what Israel is doing is, on the one hand, a totally new problem because it's new entities together and different mixes. On the other hand, it is an old problem that has just renewed itself. How then do we deal with it? How do we deem whether or not this is a good solution, a good proposal that we should support, or one that we shouldn't support? That's much trickier. And that's where each of us need to study and learn and explore and find our own voice and come to our own answer. I think people of good intention could say that both sides, both being in favor of the current deal and being opposed to the current deal, are both valid. And I think there will be those in the debate that we've already heard over the last couple of days and in the coming days and weeks who say just that. Some will say that this is a great deal, some will say this is an awful deal. The truth is probably somewhere in between, that it's a murkier, grayer area that none of us is quite sure of. But what I can tell you is this: there is a just way and an unjust way to wage war, and there's a just and an unjust way to wage peace. And the goal of waging peace very clearly outranks the goal of waging war. And so our tradition teaches us to go after the peace, to fight when it's necessary, but then to pursue peace and to be willing to make peace, to negotiate, to find a deal, to settle the problem. And so in that sense, whatever you think about the particulars of this deal, the attempt is noteworthy and worthy of commendation. It'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds as time goes forward. Our tradition says we pursue peace and we pursue war only when necessary. And I hope that our nation and the world will embrace that same kind of philosophy. Shabbat services this Friday evening will be at 6 o'clock. We'll be at Onondaga Lake Park in the Willow Bay section, the same place we've been the last couple of years. Promises to be a wonderful evening. The weather forecasts look great. We'll join together for services outside, and then our annual winter chicken dinner, fried chicken dinner, which will take place immediately following. If you haven't made reservations, call the temple office pronto and make a reservation. Saturday morning, the usual text study at 9, Torah study at 10, and Shabbat services at 11. Next Friday evening is the 24th, 25th, something like that, and we'll be back at the temple. We'll have Shabbat services here. Saturday morning, the same thing. And then Saturday evening, we'll mark Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the month of Av, which commemorates the destruction of the temple after the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem after the Roman invasion. That service is at 8 o'clock Saturday evening. It is a beautiful candlelit service. The cantor sings and plays guitar, and it's a beautiful evening where we recall our past, but we end with words of hope. For now, I hope you'll take the time to study what's going on with the United States and Iran and the other countries of the world, and study the proposal on the table and come to your own conclusions. It almost doesn't matter which side you take. If you've studied it and it's well-grounded, that's what counts. We all ultimately want the same thing. We want peace and we want prosperity. The question is this the best road to take us there? I hope if it's not, that we can find the right road. and I hope that together we can all continue the pursuit of peace. Shabbat Shalom for now. Look forward to seeing you in the temple.